Hey guys, it's Issy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my experience of the Gamsat and my honest opinion of the first and last time I took the exam. To those of you who are new to my channel, I'm basically starting Warwick's medical school in September, and I started this channel to document my journey through medicine. So if you like what you're hearing, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on your notifications, and please leave comments below if you have any questions or if there's anything that you want me to cover in my future videos. The Gamsat. Okay, let me just start from the beginning. So, me and one of my best friends were wanting to apply to Gamsat unis. This was at the end of second year, so we were going to apply to medicine in the final year. This was in 2018, in our final year, basically. So we booked for a test centre, the same test centre in Birmingham. And the first thing that got me right was that this exam, I was shook. It was £262, I think. And I was like, I feel like that's a bit much, especially if you're from a low income background. I don't know how they want you to finance applying for medicine. Like, that's another conversation for another day. To be fair, I can't remember exactly when I started revising, but I think I gave myself around under 2 months to revise for this exam. And yeah, I remember it being quite hectic because I was also preparing for the UCAT as well. I just remember the revision being very messy, very disorganized. In hindsight, I should have properly planned my time around revising for the two and strategically placed the UCAT exam at a better time, because for some bizarre reason I booked the UCAT like a few days after the Gamsat, and to be honest, I regretted doing that because I was completely knackered. And the thing is, I think my sort of thought process at the time was just get them out of the way, but no, I shouldn't have done that because I put myself under unnecessary stress. That summer I was preparing for the Gamsat, going to the library, the local library, and I was using different resources to prepare. Some things that I'd found online and downloaded for free, and there were some things I used as well. So like, you know, my old A-level textbooks for physics, biology, and yeah, for the sciences and stuff. Like, I was just trying my best to get as much knowledge as possible, but I think that the way I went about it was not very effective. I kind of did not know what I was doing, but I kept powering on anyway, thinking things will get easier. Yeah, looking back, definitely planning my time between the two exams, because I would get confused. I wouldn't have a proper thing. I'd be like, oh, I've got to prepare for the UCAT, now I've got to prepare for the Gamsat. There was no structure, and I felt like in the end I kind of sacrificed both scores, if you get what I mean. Also, I should have done way more marks. I feel like going into the exam I was very unfamiliar with it, and this was a mistake I made, and I should have done more research into the exam. What do I actually need to know? I think at the time though, I did have a list of topics I needed to know, I got off somewhere, but I just felt like I was just confused. Also, I didn't want to spend money on resources. I don't think it's necessary to spend so much money on resources, because some of the resources that they have now are so expensive. So yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think that there are, right now, there are quite a few resources people use that you don't have to pay for, using old A-level textbooks and stuff. So yeah, I just don't think, I wasn't about to pay hundreds of pounds after I'd paid £300 to pay for the exam. Nah. There was even a point during my revision summer where I was I basically bottled. I think this was about 2 weeks before the exam. I was like, well, from this preparation, things aren't going well. I'm not understanding. I'm not getting it. So I actually just was like, no. I then just left it and then continued to prioritize UCAT. And that was really bad because I just sort of gave up when I should have just kind of kept pushing. But every bone and every cell in my body was tired, especially because I was not planning my time well between that and preparing for UCAT. I was physically and emotionally done. I kind of put myself up again the week before. I was like, Issy, just try. You've paid £300 for this exam. Just try. Just keep going. Sort of like patching up. It was like damage control sort of thing. To be honest, that's what I was doing. I guess on a positive note though, it was really helpful that I had like one of my best friends there with me that was taking the Gamsat in the same centre. We stayed together in a hotel, and then we also took the UCAT at the same time. So like, it's not like I was, experiencing this all alone. There was someone I could talk to that was also kind of going through the same thing and had a similar experience to me. So that seriously helped, and that was, I'd say, one of the things that meant that I did not break down. And with this exam as well, they don't have that many test centres, so a lot of the time you're going to be travelling to the test centre. So on top of paying the money for the Gamsat, I was then travelling to Birmingham and I stayed there overnight. And you know what the most annoying thing was? It was the fact that the bedroom that me and my friend stayed in, right? The beds were shit. Like, the beds were not comfortable. I'm telling you, that's probably the top thing I remember from my whole experience, was the beds being rubbish. Like, I did not sleep well at all. Like, I woke up really, really early, considering this exam is very early, and my eyes were like burning. And on top of that, the hotel, the breakfast wasn't like early enough for us to even benefit from it. So we just basically paid to sleep on an uncomfortable bed and didn't even get breakfast from it. Can you imagine? We didn't get breakfast from the bed and breakfast place we stayed in. The thing is, because we knew that anyway, the night before we went to get something to eat in the morning. But I remember in the morning getting a taxi to the train station, and yes, we still had to travel again from Birmingham City on the train to the test centre, because the test centre was, I forgot where it was, but it was somewhere sort of a little bit out of the way. So we got a train to there. It wasn't very long. I think it was like 10 minutes-ish or 15 minutes. I just remember feeling sick. I was feeling nauseous. I was really, really nervous. And yeah, I was knackered as well, considering I did not get a very good night's sleep. When we arrived at the venue, it was really, really like, it was like the weirdest place, because it was like in this, I think it was like an expedition centre. It was like a massive centre, and there were like all these directions to Gamsat exam, so we were following those. Yeah, I just found it weird arriving there, and then we kind of signed in. We had to queue for quite a while because there was a lot of us taking that exam, and I think by that time it was like 7:45-ish. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say that we also bought lunch the day before because they advised us to. Yeah, so I bought like a sandwich, nothing interesting to bring, because it was like a whole day-long test. And I brought my own stationery as well, and I also bought like, my ID, my photographic ID, because they wanted, and a print of the test sheet. So yeah, those were really important things that they wanted us to bring. That test was a test of my endurance, my physical, my mental, and my emotional endurance. That's probably the longest day I've had. Like, I'm telling you. Like, I remember when we sat down for the first section, because they give you your seat when you register, they give you your seat and stuff. So I sat down for section 1, and that was like the comprehension, like reading comprehension, comprehending poems and stuff. That section, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did not know what I was doing. I also spent like the 10 minutes of reading time, trying to get myself familiar with the questions and stuff, because you're not actually, well, when I did it, I wasn't actually allowed to record any answers in that 10 minutes of reading time. So I kind of used that to calm myself down a little bit and familiarize myself with the poems and stuff. I guessed a lot of it. I spent a lot of it confused, And the thing is, like, that section is very difficult, especially for someone like me who didn't read very much, who didn't branch out reading very much poetry and stuff like that. So looking back, that's something I could have done a lot more of, is reading different things, reading different kinds of texts. That would have helped me get more familiar with, you know, the texts that they brought out in the exam. So when that section was over, I was like really happy. There was no like break between section 1 and section 2. So I sort of used the 5 minutes of reading time to sort of calm myself down a little bit and like move on to the next thing. Yeah, with this section you have 60 minutes to do 2 essays. To be honest, out of all the sections, this was the one where I felt I was, you know, I kind of felt like, okay, this is going okay, because I sort of had control of the direction of the essays I wanted to write. Yeah, this one was okay, but the only thing was that the time pressure, and the thing is, writing wise, I wasn't very fast. So it was, you know, my hand was hurting and stuff. So I tried not to spend too much time on section A because I wanted enough time for section B as well, and I did not want to have incomplete essays. And thank goodness for the lunch break. Honestly, after that section I was starving, and yeah, I was hungry and I just wanted to eat. I was so happy that we're finally gonna get our lunch break. So now it was the end of the break time, and I don't know whether I was feeling ready for the science section, but I had no choice because it was time to go. Now, back in there, and we have the 10 minutes of reading time before we answer the questions. And to be honest, some of the stuff I kind of knew and a lot of it I didn't. So this could be a bit of a guessing game, like strategic guessing. Like, I tried my very best to answer the questions as logically as I could. My guessing strategy was, if I completely did not know the answer, I was going to be consistent with one letter, which was C, because for me, I felt like if I was consistent with one letter, one will at least hit. Like, if I was using C, at least one of the questions I got wrong or didn't know would be C. I don't know, I felt like I just had to pick a letter and go with it. I know I was doing like a medical sciences degree, but I just felt like I didn't know a lot of it, especially with the physics. Luckily, the physics was 20% of the section, so it was like 40% chemistry, around 40% biology and 20% physics. And the physics, yeah, I just didn't. I didn't really know it, and I really struggled with it. So it was kind of, for me, that was a C scenario. That was a pick C scenario, and I did try my best. But yeah, this section was 2 hours long, and by the end of it, I was absolutely shattered, but I was happy. I walked out of that exam like, do you know what? I'm never gonna do that again. I thought about it and I was like, do you know what? I'm not doing the Gamsat again. That was me after the exam. I was like, I was tired. The whole preparation process and the cost, I was like, is it really worth doing that again? I got my Gamsat result in November, so I'd basically applied before I knew what result I had for the Gamsat. And to be honest, you never know, I could have done a lot better than I thought. So I was like being optimistic, like, Issy, you did your best, you answered the questions as best you could. Just put in your application for Nottingham and see what happens. So yeah, I'm just gonna tell you my Gamsat result, guys. So I got 53 in section 1, which was the humanities section, 60 in section 2, which was the written communication section, and 50 in section 3, which was the reasoning in biological and physical sciences section, which gave me an overall Gamsat score of 53. And unfortunately, that was not good enough for a place at Nottingham, because I think they wanted at least 55 as an overall score. Overall, looking back, I am, you know, that score is not bad. Yeah, I just didn't think the cost and everything and the experience was worth it again. I just felt like I wanted to focus more on my UCAT exam. This exam, after taking it, I just felt like it didn't suit me, and that's fine. Maybe if I did it again, I would improve, but I didn't want to do it again, and I did not want to apply to Gamsat unis anyway, so I continued on preparing for the UCAT the next year after I'd graduated. Looking back, the way I revised and the way I prepared for it wasn't ideal, and I could have planned better. I could have found more resources, I could have done more research into the exam, and I could have done more past papers. So for you guys who want to do the Gamsat, this is in no way to deter you. This is literally just an account of my experience. That is it. And I just wanted to be honest. I'm not gonna lie and say that, you know, the Gamsat exam was a good experience for me. It wasn't. I didn't enjoy it. From the hotel experience to the end to the whole thing, I didn't. But yeah, if you want to go to a Gamsat uni, then go for it. Nothing should stop you from pursuing your goals and stuff. I hope you've enjoyed my little rant about the Gamsat and hopefully have taken something from it about what not to do when working towards doing the Gamsat. And yeah, guys, feel free to, you know, leave a comment below and talk about your experience of the Gamsat. And if not the Gamsat, maybe other admissions tests that you've done. I'd really love to hear about it and any positive or negative experiences you've had. You know, it's good for us to hear each other out and, you know, just encourage each other in a way. Guys, don't forget the usual to like, subscribe and turn your notifications on so you know when my new videos are coming out. Guys, all the best and see you in the next one.